So my parents are hoping to move house soon, and it is my childhood home. And me and my sister have been given the ultimatum to move all our stuff out of the shed or it all goes down to the tip. So I would like to go through this stuff first. I don't think it's fair that it should just go straight to the tip. And every time I've been up there in the last couple of months, I've just been taking a couple of containers worth of items at a time. And I've been sorting into three different categories. A, stuff that actually is going to the tip because it's junk and I'm just wondering why younger me decided to keep some of it. Two, some of it's good enough to go to charity. And three, things I'm trying to flog off, put on eBay, with the idea being that any money I make will go into a home deposit. So I think that's a good use of that money since it's all my childhood stuff. Regardless, it's been very nostalgic and I've been thinking about my childhood a lot the last couple of weeks, or about a month, I guess, and it had me thinking about where I started gaming-wise. So I haven't found anything gaming-related in the shed yet. As far as I can tell, I've done a pretty good job of taking it with me to every place I've lived since I moved out of home. In this white box here, it not only started my gaming journey, but it started my retro gaming journey. So this is from the early 2000s. My first real consoles was a PlayStation 1 and a Game Boy Color, which is sometime in the early 2000s, but I think this dates back to the late 90s, or at least the year 2000. And it's in this box, which you can't really tell by just looking at it. All it says is item 4671, and there's nothing else in there. So you may be wondering, what's in the box, and what does it have to do with retro gaming? Well, some of you probably already guessed, it's a Famiclone. Hey, there we go, when guns were actually allowed to look like guns. So I'm going to get rid of my CRT soon. That's going to be a future video, but we don't have to dwell on that too much today. But I've been meaning to make this video, and of course it has a light gun, and that's the one thing I won't be able to do once I get rid of my CRT. So I thought I would make this video today before my retro tinker arrives. I got this for Christmas. Like I said, I can't remember which year, but sometime in the last 25 years. So I haven't tried to Google this recently. I have in the past and I've been unable to come up with anything. Funnily enough, years later from what point in time? Probably about 10 years ago now, probably more than that, probably 15 years ago, I was in a shopping center, or a mall, as it'd be called in America. And it's an inside mall. You know how there's like the thoroughfares, the bits you walk through to get from shop to shop. They have those sort of like stalls in the middle that just sell like, calendars and socks, stuff like that. I actually did see a guy selling this. So there's probably different variants of it. There's bazillions of Famiclones out there, but long story short, all we have to go off is the Super 88 video games, and then control and function chart. So as we can see what it comes with. So we've got two controllers, a light gun, and some cables and power adapters and foam that's probably, doing that, because that's what it does after a couple of years. So, getting started, plug the adapter in, alternatively, it can run on batteries apparently, so that's interesting. You can either plug it into the wall or it can run off batteries. Set it to AV and have fun. And please note, the multi-pin socket beneath the console has no function in the UK. So, what it's referring to is, if I can get it out elegantly enough, is this. And this absolutely stumped me as a kid. I had no idea what it was. I know what it is now, but we'll get to that soon enough, assuming this still works. I haven't tested this. The last time I did pull this out was probably about 10 years ago, and it worked then. I actually made a blog post about it on my blog when that was still a thing. But yeah, like I haven't tested it, so I don't know if it's actually going to work. And what is this thing? Some sort of cartridge in there. That's interesting. It's actually, I don't know what that is. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so that's the main body. Obviously that must be like a memory pack or something. Everything's built into this, so we've got a port there for the second controller, as well as the light gun. Mystery slot that's not useful in the UK, what did it say? Has no function in the UK. Does in Australia though, but only for weirdos like me. We've got the on-off switch, the DC input, and the audio video. You know what? I think that might be a battery pack. I think that's what that is, actually. Who knows how that actually gets out. We're going to be plugging it into the power anyway, so we don't have to worry about that. It feels pretty light, so I don't think there actually is any batteries in there, thankfully. So there's the second controller. There's lots of stuff on the light gun. We've got like different firing modes. And look at that, they've actually called it a gun con, like the PlayStation. These buttons don't actually do anything. It says gun con on and off, but they're just like, they're stuck in place. The start button doesn't do anything. They're connected to each other. Or are they? They can move independently of the back trigger. Probably doesn't do anything. What else we got? It says on and off, but there's like no button there. So cheap jank, obviously. But because it is a family clone, obviously it's full of NES games. And when I was playing these as a kid, I had no idea what an NES was. I just thought they were just, like even in the early 2000s, the NES was pretty old. So, well, these cables are jank. Look at that. It's like held in by sticky tape. So we might have to find another cable to use. And look at this. This is a proper fire starter. It'll burn your house down. Technics AC adapter. Oh, it runs an AC. That's interesting. No, or maybe, unless that's just wrong. 9 volt, 300 milliamps. It wouldn't say that if it was an AC adapter, would it? It would just say the voltage, or I don't know. It's been a while since I've looked at an actual AC adapter. So yeah, let's get this all plugged in and shoot some ducks. Okay, I think we're good to go. So everything should be all plugged in. The TV's making its annoying whine, which I really hate. It's already giving me a headache. Let's plug it in and hopefully it doesn't explode. Just like that, it works. So, do we have... Ooh, what happened there? Do we have audio? Not sure if these are supposed to be making noises or not. Well, let's just play a game and I guess we'll find out that way. So, Super Contra. So, they're not even trying to like hide it as another game like they sometimes do. They'll be like, you know, Super Coburn, Super Cobra. But instead it's just the ROM that's been ripped. Oh, okay, so it is labelled reset, to be fair. Just thinking about the N64, I'm pretty sure the start button's in the middle there. It's hard to tell without actually looking at one in my hand. Anyway, so let's go one player. We are recording, yes. Okay, there's no audio. So why don't you just give me a sec and I'll see if I can figure that out. Okay, as expected, it was because of the janky cable. It's just too jank. It's all janked out. So I found a cable that's been manufactured in this current century. So let's have a look. So as we can see, we've got 88 games in one, and there probably actually are 88 games on this, to be fair. I know some of these family clones, they'll be like 10 million games, and it's actually just like the same game over and over and over. So props to them, although I think there is, from memory, some duplicates on here, so maybe even 88 games was a bit of a stretch, sort of 25 odd years ago. So we've got Contra, FIFA Soccer 2000, maybe that's the year I got it. Yeah, we've got Duck Hunt, so we'll try that out in a second, as well as Wild Gunman. Yeah, there's all sorts of good stuff on here. Dig Dug, Mappy, Luna Ball. Yeah, I'll scroll through the entire list for you now. So yeah, see how it says like Load Runner 1 and 2. I'm pretty sure Load Runner is already on the front screen. Yeah, number 9. So, anyway. Ice Runner. Yeah. Zippy Race. So, these are obviously all NES games, and I played this a lot as a kid. And for a while, I didn't have any other consoles. It was probably a couple of years at the very least. So basically, I'd started with the NES like a lot of people older than me did in their childhood, although I did it sort of 20 years later, but in my childhood instead. So really long story short, this is the reason I like retro gaming so much. I basically just started with it. So yeah, and that's the last games, and it just scrolls around. So let's just pick a random one here. Star Force. Yeah. Played this so much as a kid. So yeah, the controls seem to work fine. I missed him. And I think I could probably pick any random game on here and I'll probably have fond memories of playing it. Because like I said, this is all I had for a very long time. So I just played it over and over and over. And then eventually I actually got a Game Boy Color first. And that Game Boy Color games were so expensive back in the day. They were like $80. And that was $80 in early 2000s Australian money. The Australian dollar was quite strong at the time. You know, inflation regardless. So I only really ever had a couple of Game Boy Color games. And then I got a PS1 around, it was 2002. So the PS1 was actually already like relatively old by that point. So it meant that I could buy games like really cheaply. And I could save up pocket money and actually have enough. You know, I'd go down to my local secondhand shop, and this is really hard to concentrate on and talk at the same time. You know, the games were like 15, 20 bucks each, so... Oh, I keep pausing it. Look at those physics. So yeah, like a kid like me could actually, you know, save up 20 bucks relatively easily doing chores and whatever else, and yeah, that's a big reason why my PS1 collection is so big. And I bought plenty of PS1 games. What is this, Mario? When I'm not doing well at talking and playing. Yeah, like sort of how like PS3 games and Xbox 360 games are like really cheap now because they're just sort of like old, but they're not really retro. No one really cares about them at the moment. I bought plenty of PS1 games during that period. I did the same for PS2, original Xbox. They're all starting to go up in price now. And yeah, currently at the moment I'm doing the same for the PS3, Xbox 360 generation, whatever number generation that is. So yeah, I recommend sort of buying those now. So let's give this light gun a go. Oh, I don't know how well that came through in the microphone, but that just crunched into place. Didn't do it the second time, that's a bit worrying. So, should we play Duck Hunt or Wild Gummer? Let's play Duck Hunt, that's the old favourite. Let's see how well this works. Okay, so it is working. Why can't you shoot the dog? I mean, I've never been that great at light gun games, but I think, yeah, it's registering the me pulling the trigger, but I don't think it's actually registering on the screen that I'm pulling the trigger. Like it doesn't know where on the screen I'm pointing. Just like, yeah. Although to be fair, let's just try out Wild Gunman. Just make sure that it isn't just the game that's somehow not working. Oh, I pushed the bloody reset button again. Ooh. Just gonna muck around with the Elgato. Running the old Elgato today, the Game Capture HD. It's been a long time since I've used that. kind of like basically a retro piece of tech in its own right. All right. Why are you just doing that? Come on. Why are you whistling at me? Just go. Maybe I shouldn't have pushed that. Oh, it's getting warm in here. So it's nearly 40 degrees outside and I can't run the aircon while recording because it's too noisy. So, all right. I don't think the light gun is meant to be. So let's get on to the third and final part of this. So you may be wondering what this cartridge slot is for. What actually slots into it? And this absolutely bewildered me as a child. It wasn't until I was an adult that I figured it out. It's a Famiclone, and this Famiclone, which is actually really cool, happens to play Famicom games. So I haven't tested this beforehand, and I think this is full of dust because I just got a nose full of it. But yeah, it can natively play Famicom games, which is pretty cool. I mean, obviously it's all been emulated and whatnot, but yeah, is this going to make a liar out of me or what? There we go. So obviously that's pretty funny looking, but yeah, let's give that a go and see if it works. Whoa, it worked first go. How cool is that? I think it's worked. There we go, yeah, so that is playing from the cartridge. It isn't playing from the emulation or anything. I keep hitting that bloody reset button. So I've actually got a pretty decent collection of Famicom games there. I've probably got, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've got about a dozen, I guess. They look cool on the shelf because they're all colourful. I want to keep this because obviously I'm nostalgic for it, but it does have a genuine purpose. Okay, I'm going to try and not touch the cartridge at all. It doesn't like that. In being that it can record, I hit the bloody reset button again. In being that it can actually record Famicom footage, because like here's my Famicom here, and you know, that's just RF. I haven't done a composite output or anything, so yeah, like, you know, right now I'm recording and I just wouldn't really have a way of doing it otherwise, because doing the old faithful plugging into the VCR doesn't work with that, because it's like NTSC-J, it's Japanese, so it doesn't work with my Australian VCR. So yeah, like I said, genuine purpose. I've never actually used it for that purpose before, but I keep hitting the wrong button. Oh no. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm not here to play Tetris, I'm here to show you why I'm into retro gaming. So I think I might leave it there actually. It's getting really hot in here, but yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.